Hello, everybody. Grandma Lois. You can call me Grandma. It's okay with me because I'll be your grandma. Anyway, this morning I feel good and I am so thankful and I am raring to go and I don't know what in the world we're going to be talking about. We'll just find out as we go along. But I do want to read you this scripture that AI looked up for me this morning. Artificial intelligence. They said they searched when I asked them, what is God's verse for today? And it's Corinthians 1, 3, and 4. So artificial intelligence knows the Bible, which says, Blessed be the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of mercies and God of all comfort, who comforts us in all our affliction, so that we may be able to comfort those who are in any affliction with the comfort with which we ourselves are comforted by God. This verse highlights that God is the source of comfort in difficult times, which come to all of us, and encourages us using that comfort to help others. Well, I want to tell you about my brother Norman. I got a message last night that they he had to put his wife in the hospital. She has a kidney infection. So lawyers, add Benita, we call her Aunt B, to your prayer list. She is, I pray she'll be all right. We've already been praying, James and I. Let me fix my collar. You know, I worked, I don't know how long to get these lights right and to get a good picture. Because you know what? I like pretty stuff, but he's the God of all comfort. And Norman and Benita have been married. They had their anniversary, 70th anniversary. They got married in 1955. And they're still looking good. And they sent me a picture the other day of them on Facebook, and everybody was congratulating them for their 70 years of marriage. And Norman is, my brother Norman is about 3 years younger than me, and Benita's about the same age. Maybe she's a little younger, I'm not sure. But she's a wonderful woman, and they both serve the Lord, and they've always served the Lord. And I was talking to my brother Norman the other day, and we was talking about our childhood and what we had to do in this time of the year, fall of the year. And I remembered how it was time. We had 6 acres where Daddy raised corn. Well, this is the time of year that he'd take the truck to the field when we was on weekends out of school, and me and Norman, Daddy would move the truck up and we would pick those ears of finished corn, which a lot of times was nubbins. And nubbins means Daddy didn't fertilize it and they wouldn't grow very big. But we harvested, whatever was on those stalks and threw them in the back of the pickup truck. And you're walking for miles because you're not riding in the pickup truck. You're walking behind the pickup truck, picking those ears of corn that is ready to be harvested, throw them in the back of the truck. And then you take it to the barn, and we had a corn crib. Look at that little. Is that a dog or a cat? I can't see too good, but it looks like it's got a toy or something. I don't know what that is. Oh well, it's company for us as we're chatting this morning. And when I'm and ch- chatting with you all, I keep getting little things up the top of my iPad. And James has a real estate lady, and she sends him all the newest real estate things that's come on the market to my iPad because he wants to look at them as soon as he gets home. Well, we were picking corn, weren't we? And also in November, see, we raised tobacco for many years, and it was the time of year to cut the tobacco, and you have to go to the field, and they only let us raise so much. I mean, like 3/4 of an acre, and they measured it, man. The government comes in and measures how much tobacco you have planted. You had to do your allotment, or you couldn't raise tobacco. So we would cut it down and put it. They had sticks called tobacco sticks. You cut them out of the woods, and they like young saplings of trees, young trees, and you cut them, or you bought tobacco sticks at the lumber yard or wherever they had them. I don't know. Anyhow, you put that right down on that, and it would hold a lot of sticks. And then you load it in the truck and you take it to the tobacco barn. Daddy built a barn which you could use underneath to put ever what you wanted, but upstairs, up higher, you hung your tobacco. And I was, and just lots of them, and they had to stay there and cure till later on. And then when it cured, when that tobacco got just right, you peel the leaves off and you fold them together and you make what they call a hand. And then you stack them. And then when you get them all done and you put it in the back of the pickup truck and you take it to town. Now, where I live, the place where you sold tobacco was just down the road. And that's where we went to. And now the Walmart is built there where that tobacco warehouse was. But we raised tobacco, we fought the worms, we fought whatever, and there's tobacco worms and they're big old ugly worms, big old green worms, and we would smash them. If you threw them hard enough, they would pop. We did that, but we put them in cans and destroyed them because they'll ruin your tobacco crop. Daddy quit raising tobacco, but he would make about $3,000 a year on his tobacco crop. And guess what we got to do then? We got to order us some new shoes, which we didn't get many shoes, but we get one pair a year. And I liked the penny loafers. You know, you could put a nickel in it. Uh, and the brothers, of course, they had to have like the brogans, the high top that come up higher, tough shoes. But we were so glad to get rid of them in the summertime. We wanted to start going barefoot as soon as possible because that was a fun thing. And our feet would get just as tough as they could be because we went barefoot unless we was going to go pick blackberries or something. And then you don't go to the berry patch with without shoes because there's briars, and you better wear shoes and long overalls. I wore my daddy's overalls, and you put your socks on. You tuck your pants into your socks so that those chiggers don't get on you. If you get chiggers, you're going to be itching for 2 or 3 days. I am so allergic to mosquitoes, chiggers, and bed bugs. I told y'all about the time we got bed bugs. James and I, in his beautiful home up on the hill, we got bed bugs. But I know we picked them up at a yard sale or at a thrift store or somewhere because, you know, that's how you get bed bugs. You carry them in from someplace else. But I thought it was mosquitoes biting me because I would get bit and I would have whelks on me. And I mean, they would itch and it would be, I mean, they would hurt for 20 minutes. And I was convinced that they were getting in the window somehow or other, that it was mosquitoes. Had no idea it was bed bugs. And I've told this before. So I did everything in the world to fight the mosquitoes. I ordered from Amazon like a tent mesh that goes over the bed, and therefore the mosquitoes can't get through that mesh. And James and I slept under that, and I still got bit. I said, James, they're getting through it somehow or other. I can't figure it out. And it would get so bad, I'd say, honey, I can't stay here where these mosquitoes are. Take me down to my house, because it was about 4 miles away, and let's sleep at my house because I can't take this no more. I'm getting bit every little bit. We'd 9:30, 10 o'clock, they'd start biting, the mosquitoes would, after we'd been in bed about 30, 40 minutes. So I'd get up and he'd get up and he'd haul me to town. They weren't in no mosquitoes down my house. So that that mosquito, that one didn't work. So I ordered a different uh, window unit because it was kind of warm and we needed, and I was convinced they were coming in that air conditioner window unit. I was convinced that's where they were coming from. Somehow I said, I don't know how they're getting through there, but they're still coming through. So I said, maybe if we just bombed the room, you can get those things that you can leave it in the room for 4 or 5 hours and it'll kill all the mosquitoes that you can't see. Well, we bombed that room a time or two. They were still biting me, and I was still having to go down to New Albany because he lived way up in the Knobs, and that's where we stayed nights. And so one night I got up and I said, well, I just got bit again. I said, but what is that crawling up the wall there? He said, I don't know. I said, well, it looks like a bug over beside his bed. I said, there's a bug crawling up that wall. And I looked at it close. Well, when I was a little girl, we got bed bugs at my house, at Mom's house, in the mattress. Daddy bought some used stuff and bought it in, and and that's how we got bed bugs. And me and Phyllis was sleeping on bed bugs on the mattress. Well, back then you took the mattress outside, used kerosene up and down, leave it out in the sun, you're rid of the bed bugs. I said, that's a bed bug, James. I said, have we got bed bugs? I said, surely not. So I said, let me look. So I took the sheet, we wear a sheet, have a sheet that fits pretty tight, and I lifted up the corner of that. Honey, talk about somebody being in shock. I mean, me and James both was in shock. So he said, well, let's go down to the house and sleep. We'll deal with this tomorrow. So we went down to my house, and the next day we went up there. I had forgot all about kerosene, all that kind of stuff. I don't think I would have done it anyway. So we threw the mattress away. We threw it away to the dump. And we had a mattress upstairs that we could put on the bed. We had moved down, no, over in the other room. And we had 2 bedrooms up there. So we took a mattress out of the other bedroom and put in our bedroom. But still, bed bugs was coming. So they didn't get out in the rest of the house. They were just in that one bedroom where we slept. Well, at that time that was happening, bed bugs was sweeping through the projects in New Albany, Indiana, where we lived, and they were giving seminars at the project if you wanted to come and how you get rid of bed bugs. We went. James and I went to it, and they called the guy that was giving and he was over the projects to take care of them. We called him Bedbug Bob because he knew everything about bed bugs. But he told us that diatomaceous earth, which is like a powder, it's not poisonous to humans, and you have to put that down, and you have to do your carpet inside your where your light fixtures are, on the wall, and everywhere, and leave it. But it still takes a while. But it did take a while. But we finally, with the diatomaceous earth, we sprayed. We went to Home Depot and bought all kinds of spray, and that did not get rid of them. And they were not mosquitoes, they were bed bugs. And thank God I did not get them at my house. So till we got it under control, we slept a lot of time at my house. But we got it under control with the diatomaceous earth. It's a white powder, and it really worked. Thank you, Jesus. Oh, look, there's a dog there now. Did he have a toy earlier? I don't know. I guess that changed behind me and I didn't even notice it. He's flipping his tail, keeping me company. Keep y'all company too. Well, we had a wonderful weekend. I just took Sunday off. I thought, I'm just not in the mood to sit down and yak yak because we spend a lot of times at James's house. And, I can talk. I don't have any difficulty talking one way or the other. I talk about something, just the way I am. I've always been chatty. And this morning, I decided to tell how, when we lived out in the country, we were it was just off the grid. If you know what off the grid, outdoor toilets. And out from our house, we had a big plum thicket that had the best, and Daddy built the toilet in an empty spot out in the plum thicket. And in the summertime, I would, it was so nice out there in the plum thicket. And when the flowers would bloom, and later on in the fall, we had plums, and they were delicious, just oodles of, and that's where the chickens roosted in the plum trees where the foxes couldn't get them. We did not have a chicken house. Everybody has chicken houses now. And Kim, my daughter, has a little 2-acre place out in the country where she has a chicken house, and she even has a wire over top of a lot of her stuff because of hawks and animals that will just dive in there and get your chickens. But foxes are bad, and raccoons will kill chickens, and different possums don't kill them, but they show up too. And Kim recently had a couple of rabbits show up, a mommy and a daddy, and one of them was pregnant, but they were from her next door neighbor. I think the lady got them back. I don't know. But something's always happening out at her little 2-acre place. Oh, there's an ad there. Well, let's see if how long that's going to last. I don't know. There it is. Didn't last long. Anyway, we had out in this plum thicket. So at night, we was allowed to have a potty beside the bed to, just for number one. But if you had to go at nighttime or early in the morning before daylight, because we got up before daylight, you had to have a flashlight. So this morning, I put a short on, no more flashlight, because as I went to the bathroom this morning, I thought about that. Boy, this is nice. We don't have to have a flashlight or anything to go to the bathroom. And so I let James look at that little short that I did, telling y'all no more flashlights. And he got so tickled. And then we went down to the Y, and I was telling Grandpa about it. And he says, I don't know what I'm going to do with you. I said, well, I was just appreciating how much we don't have to use a flashlight anymore in this day and age. Because, see, we didn't have electric lights or anything for 2 years till I was 12 years old. We didn't have a wash machine. We had tubs. Me and Norman was talking, my brother, we was reminiscing the other day how when Mom got her first washing machine, and it was the kind we didn't have electric, it had a motor on it, and she had to crank it just like you have to crank a little motor, and she'd just do it with her foot. It'd catch every time, and it would start, and it would go, and it had a wringer. We didn't have to wring our clothes out by hand anymore. I mean, when we had something real big, we had to wring it. It took both of us, like your sheets and stuff. It took 2 people to get that wrung out real good. But we had a wringer. And Norman says, you remember when Mom got her hand caught in it a time or two? I told him I didn't remember that, but he said, I do. And it was not fun. She'd get it out, but it would catch her. But what a blessing to have a wringer. Nobody, and nowadays, our washing machine does it all. I got to start a load. This morning I came back to my house and I had did a no. I had left a sink full of dishes. I don't like to do that, and I don't have a dishwasher here. I have one at James's house, and I never use it because I like to get my dishes done and be done with it. I did dishes the first thing I got home this morning. Then I thought, I have some Italian sausage, and I've been aiming to make that bean soup, that white bean soup that you use Italian sausage and onions, and you can chop up a potato in it, and you use Italian seasoning, and you can use kale. James don't like any greens in his white bean salad. And there are so many recipes, you can pretty well make it ever how you want to. Well, recently I went to Myers and I bought bouillon in a container. It's about a quart, and you use a teaspoon and a half to a cup and a half of water. And you use bouillon when you make white bean soup. You use Italian sausage. You can use anything you want. I read in one of those recipes you could use that chorizo, Mexican hot stuff, and I bought some of that the other day, and maybe I'll try that later. But this morning, I decided to put a couple of baked potatoes in it, so I put them in the microwave, and two potatoes about this big, 7 minutes, and then you take it out and peel it, and then you chop it up. That way you don't have to cook a potato or cook the thing a long time. So I just chop up my potato and put it in it, and then I open a couple of cannelli beans. Well, 1 can of cannelli beans and 1 of white pintos. No, not pintos, northern, great northern. They're a lot like the cannelli beans. So I opened a couple of cans of them and I put Italian seasoning in, and I used this new bouillon I bought is Mexican. It's on the Mexican shelf at Walmart. And I got a beef bouillon one and a chicken. So they said use the chicken bouillon or use, the stuff that comes in those quarts. And I never have that on hand. But I like the bouillon because you can use it as you need it. And I do cook, Debbie, sometimes. I didn't cook much this weekend. I bought some at Myers. They have this in little tubs barbecued pork, and it's really tasty. So I just got some buns, and we had barbecued pork sandwiches. And then I did not hardly cook this past weekend. I really did take some time off. Anyhow, I saw Debbie did a short with her, Kentucky Life with Debbie, with her horses, and Hershey, the one she placed in another home, and that was so cute. And then let's see, she played on the piano, Just As I Am. You ought to hear. Now, that song brought back so many memories because when Buddy and I were on the evangelistic field, I ran the sound and he sang with background music on little cassette tapes. And I'm back in the audience. There's wires running all the way up to the front. We kept that out of the way. But I sat in the back with the cassettes that he wanted to sing with, and we recorded everything on cassette tape. But we had a little tape cassette that when he gave his altar call, I would put that Just As I Am. Of course, other evangelists have used that Just As I Am without one plea. And it's such a persuasive song. And I would put that on, and Buddy would give the altar call. I would not play it real loud, just kind of like in the background. And it was just really a nice thing to use when you're given an altar call because Buddy would only preach, thank God, no more than 30 minutes. He would sing for about 20 minutes, 4 or 5 songs, with me playing the tapes. And he had some really good songs. I did a list of Buddy singing on, you can find that on YouTube, singing different songs. I ought to do that some more, but I haven't done it. I'm lazy sometimes. But Just As I Am without one plea. And it brought back so many memories. So I appreciated Debbie playing that. And she is so talented, but she don't sing along. She's got a good voice because she sent me a CD of her and her brother singing, and she sings some by herself. I don't think her voice is gone just because she's 75. I think she could still sing probably, and she knows it, but she loves to play the piano. She played for a revival not too long ago. I was watching Senior Insights this morning, what she was talking about, how sometimes people's feelings get hurt. This is a whole different subject, but that video was certainly interesting, Cynthia. People, they they do hurt each other's feelings sometimes. And, I'm awful plain spoken and I have to be careful or I will hurt people's feelings. And I truly don't aim to, but I am plain spoken like my Aunt Nellie. My Aunt Nellie was the kind of woman that said, after she got acquainted with you, not right off the bat, sometimes, you really shouldn't wear that color. And she said, you should wear pink. She was being helpful, she thought. And I have to be careful and not help people like that because I might do it. Mom said I was just like Aunt Nellie. And Aunt Nellie was a big, heavy set woman. She would tell me that when I was little, back when because I've always been chatty. And Mama said, you keep that up, you're going to be just like Aunt Nellie. I ain't going to be like Aunt Nellie. No, no way. And she was a heavy set woman. She was a heavy woman. But when I grew up, I met Aunt Nellie and as an older person. And I found out that Aunt Nellie will tell you what she thinks, whether it's real nice or not. Now, I try not to do that because And she was a good Christian woman. She was just helpful, good Christian. So y'all watch it if you're like me. And so I really try to be careful and not hurt people's feelings. And I love you, Cynthia. You do great. You bring up such interesting things. You all look at her. Anyway, she's got a YouTube channel. Uh, Senior Insights is the name of Cynthia's. But anyway, uh, Aunt Nellie was like that. And when I met her and got acquainted with her, I knew what my mom was talking about because, you know, that's life. We a lot of times we are what we are, but she gave me my first permanent, and I've told how I was so happy to have. I mean, it was frizzy all over, and I just thought I was beautiful, and she thought I was too because she had a beauty shop. And then after Buddy and I went on the evangelistic field, we got more acquainted with Aunt Nellie and Uncle Jake, who was an Assembly of God minister and pastor for many years and had some sons. Was see, Aunt Nellie was my grandma's sister. That's how close she was in the family. My grandma Ayers on daddy's side. And so she had a son that was a big, heavy set guy. And Aunt Nellie had quite a history because Wilderness Road down in Virginia had a place called Kujo's Cave. And it was like a tourist trap. You could go into the cave and they would sell you tickets. We never had the money to go into Cujo's cave. But when you went from Indiana to Virginia, you had to go right past it on the Wilderness Road down through Cumberland Gap and that way. And so her and her son ran Cujo's cave and sold all the stuff that people would buy, remembrances and dust catchers is what I call them. And I just wanted to buy so many of them, and I couldn't buy any. We were so poor. But I tell you what, I admired it very much. Anyway, this morning I told James, I said, James, you know, really, we need to pick your dirty socks up and put them in the washer, and you need to hang your slacks up. See, that's the way because I'm not his slave. I help him, right? I do the laundry, I do the dishes, I cook, but I don't like picking up his dirty socks. I guess some of y'all are like that. So I said it nicely, and next thing you know, he picked his socks up and his pants and hung them. He bought him some of those pants that look like jogfers, and I just love them. He just looks so good in them, and he's been wearing them. They're tight-legged, and he needs to buy him some more of them. He don't watch my videos, so he probably won't do it, but I think I'm going to look around. Oh, and he loves his new watch I bought him. It's a Timex. And this morning, as we was driving and leaving to go walking at the Y, which we did do again this morning, we was sitting getting ready to pull out, and he said, "Look at this," and he put his watch over, and you know what? It lights up. You can see what time it is. Now this van that we've been riding in, you can't see the time in it, and he likes to know what time it is all the time. He said, "Look at this," and I said, "Well, I can see all the time on mine what time it is, and now you can see what time it is on yours." So he was happy with that, and I'm happy too. So it's good to be back. I'll see you again soon. But I might be taking Sundays off from now on. I don't know, but I might do some shorts or something. But it was so restful. Well, really Sunday is the day of rest, and maybe we should rest on Sunday. God made the heavens. He made everything in them. The seventh day He rested. So it's church day, and James goes to church, and I stream, and our pastor did real good preaching this week, and over at this other church, which we over at let's see, Evangel World Prayer Center, Evangel World Prayer Center, they had Jesse Duplantis. Now, do y'all know who Jesse Duplantis is? I don't guess you do, but he's all over YouTube, and he's a Pentecostal preacher. And when Buddy and I started, he's from Louisiana, and we was 3 months every year in Louisiana after we got started on the evangelistic field, traveling full time. And Jesse Duplantis was famous down there, and I never met him. But he was in person. He made it big. I mean, he's got airplanes and all that, like, but God has blessed him. He's a true man of God. He really is. God blesses his children, and he gives a lot. He gets a lot, but he gives a lot. And the more you give, the more you get. And that's the truth. And you don't give it to get. You give it because you love the Lord. You give, you give what makes you happy. Anyway, so James was going to go over and watch Jesse in person. And Jesse was famous in Louisiana because Jesse says things like this. And we was at this ministers meeting, and one of my friends, her Jesse's always saying, because he talks to the Lord all the time, and honestly, I do too. And so he would say, I was talking to the Lord today, and he said this and that, and I said the other, and he just tells you what all he's talking to the Lord about. And so this friend of ours said, I just don't know if God's got time to listen to any of the rest of us because Jesse is always talking to him so much. And because Jesse says, I was talking to the Lord, and I was talking to the Lord the other day. It was so strange because I wanted some more color blouses, instead of black. I went through a black mood for years, and I got over it. Things change. So I ordered me 4 off of Amazon. I ordered a white one, a beige one, a, a coral, and the other one was, let's see, red. 4 nice colors: white, coral, which is kind of like a rose. Uh, so we went to the yard sales, and this woman had a bunch of blouses, $1 a piece. So I looked at them and I said, well, those are full colors. I wanted the whole colors. I didn't want flowers and stuff on them. I want to coordinate. So I bought 4. I bought a red one, a beige one, a coral one, and a white one. This is the truth. So I think God was laughing. I've told a little about this on another video, I think. So I thought, God is laughing at me. See, that was the desire of my heart, and he made it for $1 a piece. And here I had paid whatever, like $12.99, $9.99. So I said, well, I'll just keep them all. And then I said, this is stupid. So I took the white one out and I tried it on, and it was real long. And I'm a short woman. It came down almost past my hips, too long. You can't get into your jean pockets with a long blouse like that on. Now, them I got at the yard sale, they don't do that. This is one of them, $1. So I got the same colors. So I went to Amazon drop off at Kohl's this morning and sent back a coral, a white one, a red one, and a beige one. And I just kept the ones I got at the yard sale. And I know God has a sense of humor because, you want stuff right now, but I couldn't wait a day. And how did I know he was going to do that? He's a good father. He's a he's a heavenly father. And he knows the number of hairs on our head, which is amazing. And he knew the desires of my heart, but I was going to fix it myself. Sometimes you just need to wait upon the Lord. And I have so many times, whatever I'm looking for, I will find it. Like when we, because Big Tom took a walk and was gone for a month. And the Lord revealed, let me find out where he was. And we went and got him. I went and got him. And he was 20 miles from home. He didn't walk that far. But the stories are on my video. But anyway, so he had a chip in him, but the people that found him could not read the chip. And the guy that he got give to worked at a vet, and they looked and they could. So I needed a cage because I plan on taking him and and you can't hardly get him in a cage that he has to go in front way. Honey, the next day or so, we was down at the Methodist, and I told James we was at this uh, Harvest Homecoming, and they had a big flea market in St. Mark's Church in New Albany. So I told James I'm looking for a cage to put Big Tom in so I could take him and get another chip put in him. And the women were looking, they wasn't, and they had everything down there. A lot of stuff I didn't buy much because they didn't have anything I wanted really. I just needed a. So we left there and we went on over to the Methodist place. And I walked in and said hello to the lady that takes the money and went on back. It's a house that they room after room of stuff they put out. One room is for kids, one's for shirts, one for men's shirts, one, excuse me, for blouses and all. And I went on to the back, and there sat a funny looking thing. It was square, and the top of it, it was about plenty big enough. It was a carrier, and it was big enough to put a big cat in. Just drop him in from the top and zip it up. I said, "You got to be kidding, Lord." I talk to him like that sometimes. Heavenly Father, are you sure? He said, "There it is." So it had $8 on it. So the man that runs the place, who is a member of the, and he's a real good friend, and James donates a lot of stuff down there because James buys a lot of stuff, and he'll take it and re-give it away. He bought boxes of toys and took them down there and told them just give each little kid comes in, give them a toy. They did that for a while. He does that kind of stuff. But this guy that runs the place and prices everything is he, and we're good friends. I said, $8? Are you sure? He said 5. So I got that for $5. Oh my goodness, have I been talking 36 minutes? Heavens to Murgatroyd. I'm still smiling. And I still got my coffee, but I'm going to close this one down. I gotta do something else. It's almost lunchtime. I came back with a boom today, didn't I? Now, how many of you little sweet people gonna watch that 37 minutes? I don't think so, because I get analytics and it tells me how long most people watch. And you know how long they usually watch? Not much, maybe 10 minutes, sometimes only 5. But I tell you what, if you get too bored, just put it, stop and go and watch the rest of it later. Or just carry it on your phone and listen. Am I that interesting? I don't think so. Forget it. I changed my mind. Women can change their mind in an instant. And I don't know why y'all look at me to start with. I think I heard other ladies say something like that the other day. We don't understand, but we like to be part of your life, and we love your comments, and you love us for better or for worse, it seems like. And that's the way I love y'all, for better or for worse. So we want you to be happy and be blessed. And I love you, and I want to take every one of you to heaven with me so we can get better acquainted. And we can take turns, and we're going to have forever and ever to talk and get acquainted. And there's my little dog, and I've had a wonderful morning. So God bless you, each and every one. May the Lord bless you richly and keep you safe as you travel. And I pray when I get in my car, I say, Lord, keep me safe. I'm 92 and I don't want to have a wreck, and keep those other people safe. And I went to Kohl's and took those 4 shirts back. And this one is a real hot pink, but I like it. So I'll talk to you later. And y'all walk that path now, which takes you to heaven and which would please the Lord. Love you. Bye bye.